Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is yet another DVD and Blu-ray update. Um, I got another series of stacks of various different flicks from various different places and various different genres. I got some from some online marketplaces as well as some actual physical locations. It's honestly been really nice to actually go into a store and look around and physically be there around the movies and look through the stacks and buy things. Um, it's an experience that I got to be honest, I took for granted, and I think a lot of us collectors did. Because before the pandemic, we could go to our thrift stores, we could go to places like Everyday Music in Portland, Oregon. We could go to all these different other places, to unwind and to check out, what they have in stock. But when everything locked down, that was no longer available. It wasn't as readily accessed as it was for us. So I think it's something that a lot of us appreciate even more now than we might have in the past. The fact that that opportunity is still there. I know from experience going to Everyday's Music in in Portland with a friend of mine. It was a really almost cathartic experience because it'd been like 3 months since I'd even gone into a physical media store, because all the other stuff, only ever time I'd really gone anywhere physically to buy anything physical media related was Walmart a couple times, because there wasn't another option. I mean, for me, a lot of my hunting spots are going away, and I was worried that everyday music in Portland was going to be next because they had to close down and for the pandemic and all this other stuff, and physical media sales are declining, and they were already kind of here. I was hearing rumblings about things, and apparently it seems like the location that I usually go to is its days are numbered, from what I've been hearing anyway. But they still were able to open back up, and I was able to check things out, and I got a few things. Um, but yeah, a lot of my hunting grounds are gone. Value Village gone, replaced by a extension of the already massive car lot that was next to it. So now all that's there is just more space to sell more cars. There was a sort of antique mall thrift store thing where I got a ton of VHS tapes and a few other things. That's no longer there. Um, I still have the Goodwill and everything. The two Goodwills that I've gone to. Retails, I think, is still around. They're talking about reopening, but they don't really know what the status is. They're kind of just up in the air. Uh, I and those aren't really technically close. When we're talking about ones that were close within walking distance, uh, I don't really have a place like that anymore. I did at one point have buybacks, but they went out of business fairly recently. And then there is some other options like that are no longer around. Like there was a pawn shop that had some really good deals and stuff, and I got a lot of DVDs and some Blu-rays from them. And they stopped selling DVDs and physical media like a couple years ago. So there's a lot of these options that are just dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. So it's one of those things where honestly it's kind of scary as a collector, but at the same time it makes me feel not so crazy about what I've been doing, because you don't know what you got until it's gone, and it seems like it's just one of those things where I honestly see the market shifting fully to online, and I've seen that coming anyway, but I think it's going to happen maybe faster than I initially thought. I think you're even going to start seeing big box stores not carry as much physical media in the next few years as well. But it's already happened with Best Buy and Target, and so we'll see what happens in the future. I think there's still definitely going to be a market. There's still going to be a lot of opportunities and options for people to collect and to buy things, but I don't think it's going to be the same. I don't. I don't think we're going to have. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the same sort of thing. I don't think we're going to have like the regular go to the store, check stuff out, and that's why I encourage all you collectors to just embrace those opportunities while they last. Go to those shops, support your local businesses, do all of that, because um, I can name a ton of different places that I used to go to a lot that don't exist anymore. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other collectors can too. So, enough of that sad, depressing reality. Let's get into let's get into showing some stacks. So let's start out with a stack. This stack right here, the complete classic series collection of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the '80s cartoon. I got this at Walmart a while back. It was $30. It was a great deal for all 10 seasons. There's a bonus disc with like 3 hours of bonus features. I actually have not seen that many episodes of the show. I saw some of the Burger King free episode tapes. I've seen a couple other, episodes here and there. It's been forever and a day and then some more days since I've seen any of the '80s cartoon episodes. It's been so long, I don't think I remember any of them, to be perfectly honest. I grew up more with the live-action Ninja Turtles films than I did the '80s cartoon. So whenever I get around to watching this is going to be a whole totally new experience for me, as well as the 2005. I think the cartoon is the 2005 cartoon. I could be wrong with the date, but that series is going to be completely new for me as well whenever I get around to watching that. But, I do like the Turtles, and I know this is a classic show, and I think it'd be a good... I think, honestly, what I might do one of these days is I'll have, like, a night of classic '80s cartoons. I'll watch an episode or two of the '80s Ninja Turtles, and then I'll watch some real Ghostbusters. Something like that to kind of get that sort of '80s cartoon vibe, going that a lot of '80s kids, had. This is also kind of a '90s cartoon though, because this was at its peak in 1990. Turtles Mania was at its peak in 1990 when the first live action film came out. But yeah, this is not a bad package. I mean, if you can still see it at Walmart, it's a good deal. If you don't have the series already, it's kind of a little lazy with the stacking of discs and stuff, but I would prefer that over putting them in cardboard sleeves or slots like I think the Turtle Van set is. And also I didn't want the Turtle Van set anyway because it just takes up too much space. But I'm happy with this. Picture quality is not amazing. It's not the greatest in the world, but I mean, for an old cartoon, it's fine enough. I think some of the later episodes have better picture quality than some of the others. I do have to admit, I feel really bad for Turtles fans like my friend Matt, remember Rad for Life, who went and scoured and spent all this money and all this extra time getting all of the other individual Lionsgate releases, putting up with all their bullshit with the split up way that they released one of the seasons, and then for them to come out with something like this where you could just get it all in one set and you don't have to deal with any of that individual bullshit. But at the same time, I didn't have any of the individual releases anyway, so I only had some episodes on VHS. So that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the complete series collection. Here's another TV show. Got it because it was super cheap. It was only like $2.50. This is The Simpsons, the complete 6th season. I have the other 5 seasons on DVD, including the 3rd season, which is now apparently a collector's item because of the Michael Jackson episode. Anyway, which I honestly think that's just bullshit, but that's a whole other story. And speaking of bullshit, this set sucks. I hate the packaging for this. Yes, $250, not that bad of a deal, but I mean, this packaging is unnecessary and crap. Okay, so I guess it's Homer's head or something because it's trying to be like, oh look, the case is in Homer's head, and look at this little slip thing that you get. Like you can look, it's the X-ray of his head, you know, where he's got a crayon in his brain. But then it's just this shit. I mean, here's why it's crap. First off, for some reason this thing, it's out of order. These the discs, I don't know why, but that's just how it was packaged. This particular one, and then look at this shit. They're all sliding out because the glue is worn off because it's some cheap ass bullshit. So yeah, fucking crap. Like, and I've honestly, I've heard from a lot of people this is one of the best seasons of the show. So, one of the best seasons of the show, and you do this gimmicky garbage with like cheap glue and cheap materials, and it also sticks out like a sore thumb from all the other releases previously. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the box for that, the packaging for that at all. These are actually DVDs that were sent to me by by the same guy who sent me all the Australian snacks, Robin. He sent me some Australian movies. So we have Snowtown, Chopper, which I've heard about with Eric Bana, and Bad Boy Bubby. This one sounds interesting. Sounds absolutely insane as well. Confined to a 2-room slum for his whole life, Bubby knows only of the apparently I can't fucking speak right now. Bubby knows only of the existence of himself and his mother, a religious freak who shares the bath and her bed with her son. But when Bubby's the long-lost father, an alcoholic priest, returns home and to his wife's bed, the jealous Bubby is driven to head out to the world. Abused and exploited by everyone from feminists to prison inmates, policemen, animal lovers, and the Salvation Army, Bubby, armed with only a few phrases he's learnt from his mother, has a tough entry into an inhospitable world. But others soon warm to this innocent idiot savant, and Bubby starts to find a place in this poisoned world from which he was confined. Apparently, it's like a dark, quirky, black comedy. And you know what? I like black comedies. So, yeah, I'll give this a shot sometime. Sounds pretty... It's like it might be interesting, to say the least. Then we have The Best of Fridays. Yes, that's Michael Richards on the cover there. This is a sketch comedy show from the 80s, which at one point in time was actually beating SNL, I think, in the ratings, which is no small feat at all. And, but at the same time, SNL was not really at its peak around the time that Fridays was airing, but still impressive that they were able to do that. It's called The Best of Fridays because it only has a select number of episodes. It doesn't have the whole series. It doesn't have the whole first season. It doesn't have the whole second season. These sets are always weird. I decided to get this because the price wasn't too bad, and I'm a big sketch comedy guy. I love sketch comedies, and I'd heard about this one, but I'd actually never really seen an episode. Larry David is also in it. This series is most known for the the Andy Kaufman. Sorry, they have the same fucking last name. The Andy Kaufman incident, where that's really the most well-known thing, is the Andy Kaufman incident, where was it real or was it not, where there was a fight between Michael Richards and Andy on the set of the show, and that is really what put Fridays on the map for a lot of people, and that's honestly one of the only reasons why anybody really remembers the show, other than diehard fans of the series. Um, so this only has like it's like 13 hours of content, but it only has 16 episodes of the series. It aired from 1981 to 1980. I mean 1980 to 1982, and like I said, around this time, SNL was not really at a high point. In fact, in 1980, SNL was at one of the lowest points ever in its entire existence. So, I mean, Fridays beating SNL, like I said, it's not necessarily a totally small feat, but beating this incarnation of SNL, if you have seen the 1980 season, the 1980-81 season, the infamously horrible season, I think you'd be like, even a mediocre sketch comedy show would be better than that, because that's one of the worst sketch comedy I think I've seen to this day. Is some of the sketches from that season. That season is awful. One of these days I would like to do a video or a podcast or something about that. I mean, I've always thought about doing a podcast series just about, called Behind the Bombs, where I do some research and then I do reviews and I talk about infamous bombs in pop culture, in technology, and all various different kind of topics. And one of them would definitely be season 6 of Saturday Night Live. But Fridays, it's a decent set by Shout Factory. Picture quality's not, amazing, but it's decent enough for a show that old. Comes with a booklet, and I think there are bootlegs out there with more episodes. And Shout Factory TV, which is like a free streaming thing, they have some other episodes that are not on this set. For some reason, I don't know why they're not on there. They're not on this set, but they're on the Shout Factory TV streaming thing. There's some features. There's a cast and writers reunion, thing about the Andy Kaufman incident. So yeah, the best of Fridays. I guess if you're a fan of this show or you're curious about sketch comedy, I would say it's definitely worth adding to your collection, just for curiosity and just for having it available. But I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really say for sure whether or not I actually like it. Then I got the Subspecies Epic Collection on DVD. It's a box set that has all 5 Subspecies films. So released by some company called Kangaroo Video in conjunction with Full Moon. Got it from a seller online. I'd honestly been trying to get my hands on this box set for a while. I don't really like it. I'm not really in love with the packaging, where they Subspecies and then the Epic Collection is kind of too busy. What's weird about this set is that Subspecies 1 has a completely different sort of menu, a different setup, different pretty much everything than any of the other discs for some reason. It makes it look like it's some kind of weird knockoff, but none of the other discs are like that, which I don't understand. I think this was an Australian release. That's why it says Kangaroo Video. I think this was released in Australia. But yeah, Subspecies, the Epic Collection. Then we have some randomness. We got the aggression scale. Actually was recommended by the guy I was buying some stuff for off a Facebook group. I was like, hey, do you got any recommendations? He's like, how about the aggression scale? I'm like, okay, sure. So the aggression scale. Wilding. Got it for the cast. I mean, you got Brad Dourif, you got Liv Tyler. Yeah, Wilding. For the Vincent Price collection, The Pit and the Pendulum. Midnight Movies release. I honestly like these Midnight Movies DVDs. I like the way that they set up their cover art. It's honestly a pretty cool poster too. I got these box sets because I am a huge fan of the Dallas Cowboys. Sorry if that might offend some of you. I apologize, but I'm not going to sit here and lie that I don't like the boys. I do. Dallas Cowboys, Complete History of America's Team, and the history of the Dallas Cowboys. Both of these are like very similar, but they have different features and different cutoff dates for the history. They should do another one. They should do a Blu-ray set. I don't know why they haven't done that. Should get on that. I got Mutant Man. It was really cheap. That's really the only reason why I got it. And it's a platinum release, and I know those aren't really the easiest to find. Another one I got only because it was cheap. Body of Evidence with Madonna. I think I might already have that, but it was super cheap, so either way, it's not like a wasted that much money. And I'm reacting like this because last time I saw this, I honestly did not like this movie. And I know it's got a cult following, and it was one of the 101 most unheralded horror films according to Fangoria. But I thought this was pretentious, boring, bullshit. But I wanted to get it for the collection, and also for a potential, for another review all these years later, to see if I was wrong, if I was too harsh on it. And what I'm talking about is Cemetery Man. Got it as part of a lot, didn't pay that much for it. Yeah. I did not like this one. Especially the ending. And that's the thing. I don't think this, a revisit of this is not going to change how stupid and how lame and how absolutely infuriating the ending of this movie is. Fucking Snow Globe. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you've seen my rant on the movie that I did years ago, you know what I'm talking about. Fucking Snow Globe. So this movie fucking Saint Elsewhere's you. Then I got Assassination Nation, because I honestly was curious about this plot and about this overall film. I've heard it's kind of preachy, I've heard this and that about it, but I still want to give it a fair shot. So Assassination Nation. Then we have The Legend of 1900. Now, the reason why I got this is because I saw an article online that was talking about how this movie got a release in China long after it was finished and had its initial release worldwide. So it got a release, I think it was in China, or it might have been somewhere else. It was definitely in an Asian country. And it got a release, and it did surprisingly well in the box office. So I thought that was interesting, and I looked up the film from that article, and I saw the trailer, and I'm like, I like Tim Roth, and it looks like it has some nice visuals. Interesting plot about a man who grew up and lived his whole life on a luxury liner. So yeah, The Legend of 1900. So this is a film that I've been trying to get my hands on for years because I saw this on TV with my dad one time, a long, long time ago. And I could never find this anywhere. No matter where I looked, no matter how hard I looked, I could never find this anywhere. Saw it on a listing on Facebook, got it as well as a few other things for a really cheap price. So here we have Tamara. I finally got her. I got her. I got Tamara. It's been forever since I've seen the film, so I can't really say that much about it. But yeah, I'm just really glad that I finally got the movie. It's been a long time coming before I was able to finally find that. Got this because it was part of a little good deal. I got like 4 or 5 movies, including Tamara, like for only like $8. Pig Hunt. Apparently, there's some practical effects. There's some good gore. Looks like it might be fun. Animated movie called Lady Death. I've heard about Lady Death. I've seen some of the Lady Death action figures. Um, I've just never actually seen the animated movie. And this is Lady Death, the motion picture. The Day the World Ended with Randy Quaid and Nastasha Kinski. This is one of those creature features movies, the remakes of these old B movies, sci-fi films that Sony produced with effects by Stan Winston's Creature Shop. They were She Creature, which I also have. How to Make a Monster. I don't think I have. Actually, I think I might have that one somewhere. Earth vs. Spider. That's the one that I remember the most. And honestly, I would say it's the best one. And then Teenage Caveman. And I don't think I have that one. But The Day the World Ended. And then The Convent. Another one I've been trying to get my hands on for a long time. Got it through a Facebook seller. This honestly looks really entertaining. This looks like a gem. Mike Mendez directed it. You got Adrian Barbeau, who plays a gun-toting, crossbow shooting, badass, evil, witch hunter. Looks like there's a lot of crazy effects. Yeah, this looks like it honestly might be a gem, despite its kind of lame cover art. The Convent. Then I got curtains for the collection of 80s slasher movies. And then I also got the Hammer Horror Series franchise collection. Because I have a Hammer box set, the Hammer box set from the UK, which has a ton more Hammer films. But this one has Hammer films on it that are not on that set. This has Brides of Dracula, The Curse of the Werewolf, Phantom of the Opera, Paranoiac, Kiss of the Vampire, Nightmare, Night Creatures, and The Evil of Frankenstein. Now, this is a set that it features flipper discs, so each disc has 2 films. Flipper discs are kind of lame, but the discs were in pretty good shape. And in all honesty, I thought the picture quality for a DVD would actually look pretty good. It's the Hammer Horror Series. So that is it for DVDs. Now we're going to get into Blu-rays. So here we have Steelbook of Mandy. I had it on Blu-ray. I lent it to a relative of mine. It disappeared. I don't know where it went. So I decided to get the Steelbook, and I'm glad I did. This is a gorgeous looking Steelbook. This Steelbook is absolutely beautiful. This video is not really doing it complete and total justice. Really like the look of this Steelbook. And I loved Mandy. Mandy was my favorite film of that particular year when it came out. There's not much in terms of features, new features. In fact, there are no new features. It's a little bit of a bummer, but it did have some special features anyway. It just comes with these temporary tattoos of the Cheddar Goblin mascot and the Mandy logo, but overall, definitely worth it if you're a fan of the film. I mean, it's a gorgeous presentation. It's a great looking Steelbook. So Mandy. Another Steelbook that I got is The Hunt for Red October. One of my all-time favorite films. Love this movie. Had it on Blu-ray, but I wanted the 4K release, and this is a 4K Steelbook. Mandy's just a regular Blu-ray. This is a 4K Ultra HD Steelbook. Looks pretty good. Honestly, I wouldn't say pretty good. That's an understatement. I thought it looked really good. I understand a lot of the film is pretty dark anyway, So they did the best that they could. This includes the same transfer that's on the box set that has all the other Jack Ryan films in 4K. But this is my favorite Jack Ryan film, and so I wanted to have it on its own. One of my favorite thrillers of all time, and honestly, my favorite submarine movie. Period. I absolutely adore The Hunt for Red October. I would love to watch this again and talk about it because I really do like it that much. These are all titles that I got from Walmart. Pretty good prices for all of them. VFW looked like it might be fun. Like the concept of it. Heard some good things about it. Same thing goes for Guns Akimbo with Daniel Radcliffe, and then Vivarium with Imogen Poots and Jesse Eisenberg. I liked the overall concept for this film as well. So got those. Got the 4K release of Color Out of Space for some more Cage craziness in the horror genre. Loved Mandy, and Richard Stanley's a very talented filmmaker, and the trailer looked trippy, so why not get the 4K release? So Color Out of Space. Got this box set finally. This thing was so. I'm a part of a collectors group on Facebook, and everyone's talking about, oh, the Omen box set, the Omen collectors box set from Scream Factory. It's at Walmart. It's $39.95. It's cheaper than the normal price. And I'd see all these posts like, oh, I went to Walmart and I got the Omen, and my Walmart would never have the Omen. It would never have it. Like, I would go multiple times, never would be there. I'd check online, it'd be like, not gonna be there, not there at my local Walmart. So it's on the same group, and then somebody mentioned, hey, it's on Walmart.com for the same price. And I was like, oh my god. And then I went on and I got a copy, and then I finally got it. So here we go. The Omen Collection, the Deluxe Edition. Now, as you know, I am not the biggest fan of the Omen films. If you got to see my reviews of them before I had to remove them off YouTube for various different reasons. But the first film has a 4K remaster. There's some new extra features that were not in any of the other releases. Scream Factory makes some really good box sets, and it was a good deal. And knowing that it's a Fox release, this is probably going to go out of print eventually. And then the prices are going to be ridiculous. So, because that's been happening a lot with Scream Factory. There's been a lot of stuff that's been going out of print, and then as soon as it goes out of print and it's out of stock, like all these eBay resellers and all these other people are just jacking up the price. And now some bare bones release of Candyman Farewell to the Flesh is like $60 and I'm like, I already had. I mean, I got it in the last Shout Factory thing, but Scream Factory sale or whatever they did. But still, I mean, just ridiculousness. People charging like $40 for a copy of Supernova. Like, who really cared? Did anybody... I can't think of a single person off the top of my head that actually liked that movie. Now it's like, because it's out of print, now it's like $40. But anyway, at least with $40 you get 5 movies. Some of them are crap, but you still get 5 movies. Nice looking box set. They don't have any reversible cover art or anything for the original, I mean, original isn't really the right word, but for, the individual films. But it's still a nice looking box set. Got a lot of features. And actually would not mind revisiting this series and doing new reviews. Because in all honesty, when I did those, that was pretty soon after my car accident. When I got hit by a car, my face was all busted up. I was missing teeth. I don't think those reviews were really that great. First off, the picture quality definitely didn't age very well. And, I do remember liking Omen 2. I didn't like Omen 3. Omen, the first film I thought was okay. The fourth film sucked, and the remake sucked. I'm pretty sure I'll probably feel the same way. But I'll be able to be a little bit more detailed with my reviews, because that was also a time when I don't think I had the ability to do longer reviews. So that's another reason why I would like to definitely revisit these and do reviews of these one of these days. I do want to share one comment that I remember that I got on my review of The Omen. So some super Omen fan was like, I'm gonna curb stomp the teeth out of you, you fucking nerd, you know, some shit like that, because I didn't love the Omen. It wasn't even really a rant or anything. I just said I didn't love the movie. I thought it was okay. It's like, I'm gonna curb stomp your ass. You know, it's just like, I will always remember that, because that was just so absurd. So we got the Omen box set. We have Rad, the Vinegar Syndrome 4K Blu-ray release of Rad. This is honestly a really rad looking slipcover. And then you have this, I think it's super laminated or whatever. I don't know what the fuck the word is, but honestly, I like this better than the holographic thing. Um, and then you got, that's what it looks like on the inside. I've always thought the cover of the poster for Rad was kind of shitty though, but the movie not so much. I like Rad. Um, it's nice to finally have Rad officially on disc. It is so nice. It is honestly quite rad that it's officially on DVD and Blu-ray. I don't know what happened to that documentary that they were doing though. That was supposed to. It was like some fans were working on. I guess they never finished it. But this does have a commentary track with Talia Shire and Robert Schwartzman. It's got an audio commentary track with Bill Allen. It's got some old commentary track with Bill Allen. It's got an interview with Hal Needham before he passed away. An interview with Sam Bernard. It's got footage of the 25th anniversary event of Rad, music video for Break the Ice, a few other things, trailers, stuff like that. And honestly, a really great looking restoration on the Blu-ray. I didn't really care for the 4K though. I seem to be like the only person, but then again, I was like the only person that was saying anything about the Ghostbusters 4K. But anyway, and I still every now and then get some crap for that. People are like, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. Like, it looks great, and I'm like, but I'm just speaking from experience. There were some video errors, some weird things, some shadows, some kind of glitchy sort of stuff that I saw on the 4K disc of Rad. Apparently, there are members of a Vinegar Syndrome fan group on Facebook who are also talking about other things like dropped frames and other stuff. So maybe I'm actually not alone, but I thought the 4K disc was really not that great. I honestly thought the regular Blu-ray looked better, but that's just me personally. Uh, and I'm just comparing things to what I already have. Like, all my other 4K discs did not look like that. They haven't had any of these errors. Like, there's a scene in the film where Crew is walking into a shop, and there's like this weird pixelated sort of halo around his head. It's the most bizarre, distracting looking thing. And there's a few other moments like that throughout when I was flipping through it. So I don't know why it looks like that. It might be because of the way that I have my setup, but it also might just be a defective disc or something. I don't know. That's something I'm definitely going to keep an eye on. But I'm still relatively happy with this release because it's just so nice to finally have Rad available on disc. So since this video is already like 40 minutes, I'm going to try to rapid fire knock some of the rest of this stuff out. Equalizer 2000, the movie with the big fucking gun. Wheels of Fire, another post-apocalyptic action movie for the collection. Silk, she bangs them, breaks them, and books them. Stage Fright, looked like it might be an interesting little movie. Storage 24, I've heard mixed things about it, but I got a good deal on it, and I've honestly been curious about this one for the longest time. I think ever since I saw the trailer for it. So Storage 24, bunch of Trauma stuff, Father's Day, because I like Astron 6, Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD, because I actually, I didn't mind this one Trauma film that I actually didn't mind. Grindsploitation trilogy, because it's essentially a anthology series. It's like 3 anthology films of like fake trailers, fake horror movies. Yeah, it's trauma, but it's still an anthology. So I'm curious about it. Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. Yeah, I know. Uh, I've heard a lot of really really awful things about this. I've heard some kind of interesting. I've heard interesting things about this. I got it because it was cheap, and I honestly am curious about the effects. That's really the only reason why I actually want to check this out sometime. Is for the effects. I've seen various different clips of this movie on Facebook and online, I'm curious about it for the effects. I'm not expecting it to be good. In fact, I'm expecting it to be trash. But curious about it for the effects. Bloodsucking Freaks for the collection and also for the what the fuck factor. I saw this on VHS years ago, and I could not wrap my head around this, and it's one of the weirdest fucking nutsoy, just silliest fucking movies I think I've ever seen. All I really remember about this movie, there's a scene where some girl, I think her head gets punctured with a straw, and some guy drinks out of it. There's a midget, a little person a dwarf who's going around whipping people and doing all kinds of salacious shit. And then there's like something involving hot dogs with penises in them, like and women behind bars. That's really all that I remember about this fucking movie. Um, but yeah, blood sucking freaks. And it looks like there's some interviews. One in particular sounds interesting. There's an interview with Chris Jericho talking about this movie. So I'm curious to just hear Chris Jericho's thoughts on Bloodsucking Freaks. Tromeo and Juliet. This one I've been curious about. Never got around to seeing. I know this one features a script by James Gunn and Lloyd Kaufman. I've actually heard this is actually one of the better trauma films. Like one of the films where they're, it's more of an art house trauma movie. Lizard in a Woman's Skin, Lucio Fulci, Giallo movie, Mundo Macabre. These did not have any Mundo Macabre releases until I got a good deal on these. So there's that. The Blood Spattered Bride, The Devil's Nightmare, Woman Chasing the Butterfly of Death, and The Fan. No relation to the Fan or the other one. So far, Mundo Macabre, interesting decision. Interesting way that they set up their cases and their cover art. They make them all differentiated by red spines. But I will say this about Mundo Macabre. They need to stop using so incredibly cheap Blu-ray cases because they bend and warp way too easily in shipping. I already had to replace a couple of them already. So some Mundo Macabre stuff. I got Creepshow, the Shudder series, the Blu-ray. I'm really glad that this actually got a release because I did a review of this. I like this show. So this has a glow in the dark cover. It even has features, which I was hoping for, and you actually do have features, cast and crew interviews, behind the scenes footage, some Easter eggs audio commentaries, and a collectible booklet. So that's really cool that it actually does come with features, and it's not some bare bones thing, and it has a little booklet, which to be honest is kind of lame. This booklet is just a reprints of the comic panels that you would see. That's all it really is. It's not really much of anything, but it's still pretty cool to have. So it's Creepshow. Oh, it does have reversible cover art. Oh, that's a nice touch. It has reversible cover art. I didn't know about the reversible cover art. Let's reverse that cover art and take a look at that. Oh. it's not too bad. So that's what the reversible cover art looks like. Creep kind of looks off, but the creep kind of looked off anyway in the show. But Creep Show, Season 1, looking forward to Season 2. Mystery Men from 88 Films, love this movie, huge fan of this film. This is the definitive release to have. If you're region free and you like this film, you definitely should pick this up. It's got I don't know if it's a new transfer of the film. I don't think it is, but it does have some new stuff. Like, it has a commentary. I think the commentary might have been old. Commentary with the director, Making of Mystery Men, I'm a Superhero Mother, which talks about the costumes of the movie, the costume designer, interview with the visual effects supervisor Todd Tucker, a little featurette about the score of Mystery Men, spotlight on location, making a featurette from back in the day, and then just this pretty cool looking slipcase, which also has some artwork on the side, which I thought was a pretty cool touch. And that's what it looks like on when you put it on the shelf. And then, cover art like that, which has the original cover art. Original movie poster. I watched this a ton of times on VHS, and I would say it's not great, but I still think it's a good movie. I'd like to revisit that sometime as well. We have Escape from LA, the collector's edition from Scream Factory. I'm really glad that this film finally got another release. The 4K remaster is great, but it's a disappointment because the new features are just honestly lame. They didn't even port over the vintage. I don't even think they've ported over the vintage 30-minute making of documentary from back in the day. I mean, I could be wrong, but I've heard some things that they didn't even port that over. So you have an interview with Peter Jason, George Coreface, visual effects artist, and a few other things. I think Bruce Campbell has a little bit, but nothing with Kurt and nothing with John. There's no commentary track with Kurt Russell and John Carpenter. I've heard they tried to get them, but something didn't happen. Here's the thing. And then this was delayed for a while, and I was thinking that it was delayed because they were waiting for John and Kurt's schedules to align, and that I guess that wasn't the case. I would have been fine if they delayed this release multiple months if they were able to get Kurt and John. I already waited a long time to get a collector's edition of this movie. I am sure that I'm not alone when it comes to other people who would have waited quite a long time, or just to make sure that John and Kurt are involved, because it's just a damn shame. This is the one that I wanted to. Honestly, this is one of the films that I wanted to hear their thoughts on the most. Is Escape from LA. John and Kurt, they have a lot of love for this franchise, and they love working together. They love talking with one another. They make some really entertaining commentaries. So it was just a massive missed opportunity, and I don't understand. I understand, yes, you had the pandemic and all this other shit, but if that's the case, just postpone it. Wait 5 months. Wait till December. Do whatever. Just get John Carpenter and Kurt Russell. It just feels naked and empty. But I would recommend getting it if you're a fan of the film, just for the new transfer, because it is an upgrade over the Paramount release. But it's still ultimately disappointing. Got this because a friend of mine sent me some money, wants me to talk about this movie. So this is going to be one of the upcoming reviews, Unfriended Dark Web. So, yeah, I liked Unfriended. I don't know about Dark Web, though. Now I'm going to try to honestly rapid fire through these. Devil's Candy looked pretty interesting to me. Heavy metal horror film. SOB with Blake Edwards. He directed it. You also have Richard Mulligan, and Julie Andrews in a role that is definitely against type. Anti-Birth. I reviewed this on my channel a long time ago. Gonzo, weird ass movie. I don't love the movie. I think it's like kind of a mixed bag, but it's got some great effects. It's got some great atmosphere. It's got some really good visuals, and I loved the performance by Natasha Lyonne. I thought she was fantastic in this. Are You Afraid of the Dark? The complete series. This is a bootleg, but I got it because I'm honestly have not seen this show, but I've heard some good things about it, and I like anthology series. Speaking of that, Erie, Indiana. I remember this show, specifically the Tupperware episode, stuck with me, gave me nightmares as a kid, and so I've been really wanting to revisit this sometime, but the DVD set's always been too expensive. The Kentucky Fried Movie. Honestly, one of my favorite spoof films. Really enjoyed this. Really glad to have it on Blu-ray. The Toolbox Murders, the original. I have the DVD. I reviewed this a long time ago. I actually like this. I thought it was pretty good for what it is. And then Monsters Dark Continent, which I don't remember really liking the first film that much, but I saw the trailer for this and it looked like might be a fun action sci-fi movie in the vein of the film. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Battle Los Angeles, which I liked, which apparently a lot of people hate. But I was never really one of it. I thought it was a pretty good movie for what it was. And still got some more here. Bad Biology for the Frank Henenlotter collection. This is apparently pretty rare and out of print. I got it for a good deal. A bunch of Twilight Time releases because I heard they were going out of business. And they're having this massive sale because they're going out of business. And I'm not really the biggest fan of Twilight Time, but there were some releases I was curious about. So I was like, okay, alright, I better get them while I can because the prices are going to go up through the roof if I don't. And then there was an announcement by Screen Archives Entertainment who sold some of Twilight Time stuff where they're like, oh no, it's not really going out of business. We're just taking over and we're going to distribute, but we're still having a sale or whatever. So I got a good fair number of titles, but basically under the assumption that it was like buy them now while you still can, or they'll be gone forever. But it is what it is. We got Murphy's Law with Charles Bronson. This actually looks like a pretty good movie, and honestly, it's a pretty good looking transfer. The Stone Killer. This looks like a blast. This looks like a really fun 70s down and dirty cop action movie in the vein of Dirty Harry, but instead of having Clint Eastwood as Charles Bronson. Black Widow with Deborah Winger and Teresa Russell. Gloria. Year of the Comets with this cover. I hate this cover art. I really do. It's just awful. This film I remember really not being that great, but I wanted to revisit it in HD, and I liked Tim Daly, and this is one of the few films that he did where he was actually the lead, other than Dr. Jekyll and Miss Hyde, which I have, which is a guilty pleasure of mine, and in a lot of ways it's trying to be Romancing the Stone, but it doesn't really have the same effective mix of action and romance. The romance is there, and the comedy at some points is there, but and the adventure and the intrigue is there, but it just is lacking something. But I would like to revisit this sometime though. The Russia House with Sean Connery and Michelle Pfeiffer. Strange Invaders. Looked like it might be a fun sci-fi movie, with at least with some good effects. And for the Robin Williams collection, Moscow on the Hudson. Heard this is a really good Robin Williams movie, but I've never seen it. And almost there. My apologies, folks. I hope you still found this entertaining enough, though, despite the incredibly long running time. Alamo Bay, from another Twilight Time release. This looks like a rough film. This is gonna be a rough watch, but I'm curious about it though, because you got Ed Harris in a role that is very against type. This talks about. I'm gonna try to be very careful with this, but because it apparently is based on real life events that took place in Alamo Bay, in in a small Texas coastal community, and this film deals with racial tensions from that particular place, and during this particular time period. This is when there were Vietnamese immigrants that came to this town after the fall of Saigon, and so this causes a lot of tensions that arise as a result. And yeah, I always thought there's just some pretty striking cover art as well. Not gonna be a comfortable film to watch, but I still think that it's a film that's important because you know this is pretty topical today. Racial tensions. That's and yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I'm curious about it. Mainly for Ed Harris playing against type. And Amy Madigan looks like delivers a good performance. More Kino Lorber titles. They had a crazy sale, so I picked up some more titles. Needful Things with Ed Harris. Speaking of Ed Harris, Max von Sydow, Bonnie Bedelia. I've always liked the trailer for this. I've never seen it, but I've always liked the trailer for this movie. Looks like my kind of film. I've heard like the theatrical cut isn't that great from a lot of people, or it's not as good as the book, but I'm glad to have this on Blu-ray because I only had it on DVD. Solar Babies. This is a really good Blu-ray in terms of picture quality. The best the film has ever looked. I don't know of anybody who's actually a legitimate big fan of this movie, but I remember watching this one on VHS when I was living in Oklahoma City, and I remember being like, "What the fuck? This is like a what the fuck movie." I was like, "What is this?" And so I wanted to add it to my collection just for that. Just for the sheer what the fuck factor of this movie. I gotta be honest though, the trailer for this is great. For this kind of movie, the trailer gets you hyped. And you're like, this movie looks cool. But then you see the movie and you're kind of like, this is kind of dumb. But I would like to revisit that one of these days and talk about it. Deceived with Goldie Hawn. Really underrated thriller. One of Goldie's best performances. John Hurt also does a really good job in the film, playing against type, playing a villain. Good transfer. I haven't watched the entire thing yet. I just flipped through it to check what the picture quality looked like, and I also haven't listened to the audio commentary track. But I will probably revisit this and review it again because I had to delete the review that I did a while ago because of copyright. Damn copyright. But if you're interested in seeing a thriller with a different kind of cast than you normally see, Hitchcockian style, give Deceived a shot. Goldie Hawn and John Hurt are fantastic in this. Malice, film I'm really curious about with Alec Baldwin, Nicole Kidman, and Bill Pullman. Great cast. Playing God with David Duchovny and Timothy Hutton and Angelina Jolie. Another film that has a pretty cool trailer. Looks like it has a pretty nice plot line. David Duchovny plays a surgeon. Something happens and he can't do surgery anymore, so then he ends up getting courted by the underworld, gangsters and criminals, to do illegal surgeries and stuff like that. Looks like it has a good sense of humor, sense of dark humor. Terminal Velocity with Charlie Sheen and Stasha Kinski. This honestly looks like a blast. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen the trailer numerous times, and every time I see it, I'm like, this looks like a really fun movie. It's got a lot of great stunt work, at the very least. Transylvania 65000. This is actually a new 4K remaster, if I remember correctly, or 2K. Has a new audio commentary, but 3 TV spots. Not really any interviews, but if you're a fan of the film, definitely a good release to have just for the new transfer. I had fun with this. Had some goofy fun with it. And then we have Iceman. Very curious, intriguing film with John Lone, Timothy Hutton, Lindsay Krause. Deals with a hypothetical scenario as to what would happen if scientists discovered a Neanderthal entombed in ice, and the Neanderthal actually woke up from the slumber and was actually alive. Uh, Interesting bit of fantasy sci-fi. So, yeah, that is it. That's it for this update video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's been a long video, but I had a lot of things to show you guys. Anyway, in terms of what I got coming up next, some more sort of stuff that people have either paid for in terms of requests or things like that, or stuff that I'm really curious about. I have a couple of reviews that I've already recorded ahead of time that I can post whenever. But I do want to, I would say the next review is probably going to be The Invisible Man, the 2020 film. After that, maybe a couple more random sort of stuff. I did a taste test video. I mentioned it at one point in this video, so you'll probably see that pretty soon. Maybe you'll see that before you see this video. And I also have, I want to do a review of season 1 of the 80s Twilight Zone, because I watched that entire season recently, so I want to review that. I would like to review season 3 of Tales from the Crypt, because I'm almost done watching that. And I got some reviews of some, paid requests, or some, requests from longtime subscribers that I moved up the list, like Black Book, License to Drive, a couple of, some other films like that. I got some other random stuff, some anime like Fist of the North Star. So I got it's honestly a lot of variety that's coming up, to say the least. Anyway, thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you later. See ya.